Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Ben here with the Coach Ben podcast on Jiu-Jitsu Mag Podcast Network. I'm here today with another special guest. Jim, why don't you roll us in, please?
Gladly, will do, Ben. Today, joining us is New Jersey native, and is it soon to be Puerto Rican native? What's going on here? What's going on with that?
Yeah, definitely soon to be Puerto Rican native. Yeah, we're kind of just jumping ship, and we're not really any specific game plan in mind, but we just want to have extreme success, and I think we can do that kind of wherever we go. So just same kind of attitude and schedule, just different atmosphere.
So Nicky Rod, this is confirmation that you are going to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going along with like 10 or 15 or so of the rest of the squad members, and it's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be a learning experience for sure.
Yeah, so we don't need to rehash the COVID situation in New York. Everybody knows about that. You know, we're in California, so we're kind of in the same situation. That's crazy, man. That you guys just decided to do this and are going as a team. And John Danaher is going. You know, was that a big? This is a big move, right? I mean, this is something you guys have talked about for a while, or is it something that?
Honestly, they've been talking about us. So I guess I've been with the squad for like 2 years now, and honestly, they said they've been talking about this for years, like 5-6 years prior.
Wow.
Not specifically Puerto Rico, but moving out of the city. And I think just because they kind of realized that like we don't need to be as much benefit that we took from the Blue Basement. You know, like it helped us out a lot. We learned a lot from there. Me personally, and a lot of the team as well, don't like the city, as in the sense that like we don't like being around a lot of people. The clutter, the trash, the homeless people. It's there's better ways of living elsewhere. So I think that was a really big deterrent. And at the same time, everything is in New York City. You know, you got the food, you got the important, powerful people, you got the friends. So it's going to be an adjustment, but I think a good adjustment. You know, I think where we're going to go in Puerto Rico is going to be a little more spacious, a little bit of better air quality. Obviously, we'll be next to the ocean, and I think that like kind of relaxing is going to ease our mind and probably lead to better competition.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you guys are going from city life. I mean, the quintessential congested city life to a Caribbean island now. And that's, some would argue not a bad thing. Now, you were being born and raised in New Jersey. I mean, you've kind of grown up. It gets cold out there. It's probably cold out there right now as you're in your tank top.
I'm not one for the cold. So I'm definitely with the island temperature. You know, I catch a tan pretty well, and once I turn colors, you know, I feel like I look better with a tan. You know, so I'm all about it.
Right.
But honestly, like the New Jersey is a great place to live, you know, especially South Jersey, because where I'm from is more farmland. So it's easy to get away. You know, I'm up here in North Bergen in New York City right now, so it's a lot of congestion, a lot of people. But you know, where I was raised at, it's you know, you can drive a mile and be miles from people pretty quickly. You know, so it's not a bad deal. But yeah, I think we're just going to go down there and kind of see how it goes. You know, I think the plan is to open up an academy and an affiliate program, and then just kind of build our own brand, you know, and we want to help people, law enforcement and others alike, you know, with jiu-jitsu, with martial arts, because we realize how beneficial it can be to the everyday person, you know, how mentally beneficial, how physically beneficial it can be. And I think a lot of people kind of want to jump on board and be a part of our team, and us making an affiliate program kind of allows them to do that.
Right. You're sorry, Jim. Nicky, so we know that you're going, we know that Gordon's going, we know that John's going. Can you tell us everybody people who's all going to Puerto? You said 15 guys, right?
So it's going to be John Danaher, Gordon Ryan, Nicky Ryan, Ethan Kraustein, me, Craig Jones, Gary Tonin, Damian Anderson. We have Jacob McElmore, which is a big heavyweight. This another big guy, Daniel something. I forget his last name. Taza. And I'm forgetting a couple. And then a few more of the squad are coming, and then we're gonna have a bunch of people kind of moving to Puerto Rico just to train with us. Just because we kind of put out the post like on social media, and people are like, all right, like I'm gonna move to Puerto Rico so I can train full time with y'all. We're like, all right, we actually have a lot of that. Like a lot of people kind of want to live where we train. So
who doesn't want to go? I want to go right now. In fact, and
right,
I think
it's an excuse to go on a vacation and train in a tropical setting. We go do 2 hours of hard sparring and then hop in the beach. It sounds almost too good to be true. So it's definitely going to be a lifestyle worth living.
Basically, it sounds like the whole team is going. I wanted to ask you this question for a while. I'm a big John Danaher fan. Why does he follow you?
Why does he? Yeah,
he follows a select. I think I know why, because you're who you are and you're good, and he wants to celebrate the successes. But can you tell, like, he only follows like 6, 7, 8 people all the time? You're one of those people.
I think it's 8 exactly.
8 people.
Yeah. So one of my goals, right, when I met John, I was like, this guy follows 7 people. I have to be the next one. I recognize that immediately. And so it's honestly, I think it's because the ADCC success that I have. But I feel like if I didn't take second ADCC, he probably wouldn't follow me on Instagram, which is pretty funny to say because I see him every day. But I think that's just like a reward. And I think honestly, like for all of us, we probably recognize that are on the team and that are like, if he's following me, that means I'm fucking doing something right, So I think that was just a benefit of taking second at ADCC. Amongst another benefit with he gives us, like, I'm sure you guys know about this, but he gives us like knives and high quality daggers and stuff. That's pretty much our stripes and our belts. So kind of upgrade your lifestyle with that. But I think he just follows me because it can't be because of my high quality content, just because it has to be because of ADCC. That's the only way.
That's the truth. That's very honest, and that's I think that's it makes a lot of sense. Look, you can't just follow everybody. If you have a small group, small circle, you have to have some kind of way to determine, hey, look, this guy has silver ADCC, I'm following him. This guy's UFC champion, I'm following him. This guy's my master. Anyway, the people John follows, I'm always super interested in. It's like it's a thing that I'm just like, man, this is interesting. But anyway, okay, Nicky, so you we last talked to you at ADCC. You got silver. It was pretty much your breakout performance. It's been a while, I think, since you've competed. I remember last you did a third coast grappling against Roberto Jimenez, and you haven't really done many competitions since. Are you preparing for anything? And obviously you're going to do ADCC.
Yeah. I'm going to compete whatever comes my way. Before quarantine, I had a bunch planned. I was supposed to go to the UK. I was supposed to do a couple other tournaments and stuff. Obviously, COVID stopped that, kind of cut that short. But I've been training literally nonstop. Like you can count on your fingers how many days I've missed I've missed a practice since quarantine, and that includes like rest days and stuff. So I've been really focused on doing jiu-jitsu because I feel like I had such great success in ADCC, and I literally didn't do any jiu-jitsu. Like the only jiu-jitsu I did was when Duarte had my back and I escaped. Everything else was kind of just like being athletic, wrestling, and I'd had some like guard pass attempts that were just more like cartwheels, and I didn't really go into ADCC with a game plan. I was just like, I think I'm gonna outwork all these guys and put the pressure on them and try to win that way. So in these upcoming events and upcoming ADCC, I plan on having a game plan and more of an outline of what I'm going to do. And, you know, it's because I have a lot more knowledge now on the mat. I'm more confident in the moves that I know. So, and that enables me to attack them, you know, with more jiu-jitsu than I would like kind of force them to play my wrestling game. So I'm really looking forward to getting on the mat and working on the stuff that I've been working on in the basement. Cause it's like, I'm having really, really good success with my practice partners. And I think it's going to translate really well come competition.
Who's the toughest role in the gym for you? Cause you guys have been training, right?
I mean, besides Gordon, it's Craig Jones. Craig Jones is really tough, and we're neck and neck. You know, I'm a little bit bigger, stronger, faster, but he's smarter. He's more he's more agile in the sense that he can compress his body, invert very well. His leg locks are obviously legendary. So that is a constant battle. Me and Craig Jones. You know, maybe I do better than him on Tuesday, Wednesday. And then, you know, he gets me, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's a constant back and forth. We're just like, you know, right there. So Craig Jones definitely my toughest role, but I have many other guys in the room that are warriors. And on top of that, you know, I make every role tough in the sense that I'll play my weak points so I can get better at them. You know, so you know, it's not rare to see me on my back playing leg locks, you know, pulling guard in practice a lot. So I just want to be, I think I really do have the potential to be one of the most well-rounded grapplers, you know, not only submission artist, but a master of the positions, a master of control. And, you know, I feel like I'm already a master of the takedowns. So once I'm able to combine all that, I think it's going to be really unstoppable, man. I think, you know, I see what Gordon Ryan has done in competition in ADCC, how dominant he's been, and he still doesn't have wrestling. So I feel like if I can acquire all the skills and all the skills that Gordon has, and then I'm able to kind of blend that with my wrestling, I think that makes just for an unstoppable.
You're a more athletic guy. Let's be honest.
So I'm way more athletic. Like Gordon doesn't. He's not. You wouldn't consider him to be athletic. Like he can't do cartwheels and backflips and shit like that. But he has a few things that benefit him. Right. Not only is he crazy strong, he's like mechanically strong. Like for me, I could throw guys. I could create explosivity.
You're explosive.
I'm very explosive, and Gordon's kind of the opposite. He's not explosive at all, but his stationary strength is tremendously better than most people's. And then on top of that, he has precision. So when he chooses to go, it's with complete precision, and he kind of lands on the dot that he wants to land on. You know, so when I'm going against Gordon in practice, it's a battle because he knows more than me. He's a little bit stronger in some positions, but my athleticism kind of makes up for some of the constant mistakes that I do. So it's an interesting battle. I keep telling Gordon, I'm like, dude, we should really like film practices. You know, maybe we film 5-10 minutes of practice, and you know, maybe post online somewhere. I think just the roles between you guys. I think things like that will get tremendous feedback, and it'll benefit our careers. You know, because it's not like we're gonna run out of content if we're just posting us rolling. It's always going to be something different and interesting. So I think people really will get some benefit out of watching us.
Right. You know, you hit a bunch of. Sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you know, with these training sessions and you know some of the things that you were talking about, as far as stylistically, and we'll get more into this as we discuss. But you come from a wrestling background. And you're talking about your matchup with Craig Jones. Stylistically, he can invert more. It gets me thinking, have there been some jiu-jitsu movements, per se, like going inverted, that you've really been working on to expand your body's movement vocabulary?
Yes. So pretty much what my team does, the inversions, the ashigaramis, all the leg locks, it's really foreign to me. Like the whole – first of all, having somebody on top of me, like like when I'm in guard or if they're mounted on me is it was really tough to deal with. Now I kind of understand that it's a part of the sport, and you know, you can, if you're on bottom and somebody's on top of you in guard, you're not losing. But like up here in my mind, I feel like I'm losing. The score might be 0-0, but if I pull guard, I feel like my opponent's winning, you know? So I kind of have to throw that attitude, that mentality away and realize that I'm in a dominant position. I can attack from guard, you know? I can get up pretty much whenever I want, and I can you know, toss up some submissions. But honestly, I've been playing bottom a lot, man. Really trying to get the leg locks dialed in, and I think I'm doing pretty good with the body lock passing. That's coming a little bit, but I think the leg locks are a big deal, man. I just want to make sure I'm good enough that where I can attack legs on the best guys in the world and be proficient in it. You know, I have a few heel hook victories against guys that really aren't good at heel hooks, and it's just something I kind of threw out in the last second of a match, and it worked. But I feel like if I kind of put more focus on getting to the legs, I can finish most of these guys.
Right. Hey, Nicky Rod, you made a bunch of points previously that I wanted to hit on. You talked about you guys like to start. This is something that I think all the Danaher guys, Gordon's talked about this a lot. You guys like to kind of start in bad positions. You know, you talked about how a couple days of the week you might get the better of, say, Craig Jones. He might get the better of you. You know, me and Jim are big on kind of like that ego in training, right? You know, that's something that I think people need to hear, is that you're one of the top guys and you're in pretty much the top team, and you guys are forcing yourself to train bad positions, to learn. I mean, it takes you got to, you know, dissolve your ego to do that, right? It's tough to lose.
Yeah, not only the ego, but before I really would have a lot of anxiety. Like even before practice, I'd be like, because I know, like, come live. Like I love fucking live. You know what I mean? That's what I live for. Go to practice, go live. Obviously, I love competition as well. But like I would like develop. It was honestly because of Gordon. So like we would start usually our first round, like start with somebody mounted on top of you, and I would have fucking nightmares of me not getting off bottom, because like anybody in the world, I can fucking get them off me, no problem. Like literally everybody, but Gordon's mounted on top of you, as you guys seen with Mateus, is fucking impossible to get.
What
him
is
off.
he doing?
So, like,
what is he doing that's so special?
He's outsmarting you. That's what's happening. He's outsmarting you. You know, it's not like he's he has his gifts physically, obviously, but he's a step ahead. He's multiple steps ahead of you. So wherever your hands are gonna go, you know, he's pushing them to where they should be. So, you know, I would have fucking nightmares about Gordon be sitting on top of me, and I just cannot get him off for 10, 15 minutes. And then on top of that, it's not like we have timed rounds. So like John just goes fucking wherever. Like if John sees me not getting up, he's like, all right, you're gonna sit there till you get up. It might be 25, 30 minutes. He's gonna let you fucking go, you know? So that will kind of like be stuck in me, and I'd create anxiety in my head. I'm like, fuck, like I have to go to this practice and deal with this guy, and I'm just like trying to figure out throughout my day. Like I'll be like watching YouTube videos, and in my mind I'm really just thinking about how to get off the bottom, you know? And then I obviously ask John and talk to Gordon, try to help me out. But so like once I develop a little bit better skills, I felt more comfortable, and like, all right, I can definitely get out. It's just gonna take some time. Yeah, I really forgot your question, but I definitely developed.
No. Here's another question. You answered my question. It was about the ego and you know, starting in bad spots. But you answered that. You know, you had anxiety in the beginning because you just wanted to escape. You know, it's beyond ego. It's more like, you know, you're uncomfortable. So that's even, you know.
I literally felt like I was drowning every day. Every day I go into practice, and I lay down and let this fucking gorilla sit on top of me, and I feel like, here we go again. You know, here we go again. Let's fucking fight for my life. Like literally every time I step on the mat in practice, I'm like, it's life or death out there. That's exactly how I feel. But I got so comfortable living in those uncomfortable spots. It's like, fuck it. If I get there, I think
people need to hear that. People need to hear that, you know, it's not about, I know black belts that have been crushing, you know, purple and blue belts in the gym for the last 10 years that have never been mounted. They go to their own circle. That, these guys, a lot of times they think that they're the greatest jiu-jitsu person, but they haven't gone up against somebody like you. They haven't done competition where it's open to everybody. So
Yeah.
I think people need to hear this kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
hit one other point that it's funny. You said, you're a smart guy. I know this because of the stuff you said. You at least know the truth about what's going on in your situation. You said that that you haven't been doing jiu-jitsu, and that's, people fault you for that. I see stuff online where it's like, oh, Nicky Rod doesn't do jiu-jitsu. He's just a guy that's strong and he pushes people over, and what you acknowledge that, you're owning that, and people still fault you for this. So listen to what he's saying. He's saying he's learning jiu-jitsu, and I literally have to see a thing on Reddit every other month about this, about, oh, he's not doing jiu-jitsu. The man is telling you he's learning jiu-jitsu and getting better. So that was, I wanted to make sure people heard that. One of
the because I'm in such a interesting predicament. Like a lot of guys, right? I'm a purple belt, right? I've been doing jiu-jitsu like a year and a couple months, and every time I compete, right? So say I develop a new move that I'm like, oh, okay, I want to test this out in competition. It's not like I could go and test it out on a purple belt or blue belt. I have a black belt world champ that I can test my moves out on in competition. There's no going backwards. You know what I mean? So every competition, every time I have a move that I think, oh, I could do really good with this, there's no IBJJF I can go to and kind of, I mean, granted, I could go to IBJJF and compete purple belt, and obviously I do well because I beat all these black belts already, but every time I compete, it's against black belts. So every time I have a new move, something I think that's going to benefit me, it's against one of the best guys in the world. So I like really have to have that move on point and be entirely technical to get past it and to complete that kind of series of movement.
Yeah, it's got to work, right? So if you're going against Gordon and Craig Jones, it can't be a move where, it might not be the most efficient, but you're a strong guy because you can just, you can get it. It's a move that has to have it all, right? It's got to be efficient. It's got to work. It's got to be mechanically correct. It's got to be timed properly. So that, yeah, I mean, that is jiu-jitsu. You're figuring out what you can do under stress test every other day. So this is only going to just make you better. And, I want to hear your thoughts on ADCC. Obviously, I think you get an automatic invite, right? Because you have been placed. You've placed, right? So you don't have to do a trial or anything. Am I correct on that? Or?
Yeah. Everybody I talked to that's involved with ADCC said I'm good to go. Not only because I took second, but because I beat multiple ADCC champs on the road to that podium. And they say I'm one of the most entertaining grapplers out there. So a lot of people look forward to watching me compete, and I'm all about it. And I think the trials are tough. Like I think this upcoming year is going to be really tough. I think there's going to be more people competing, more people that are into the sport of jiu-jitsu. And I think that we might have a few unexpected trials victories where these guys are just coming out with decent wrestling and maybe some leg lock defense, and they end up winning the trials and make it to ADCC and surprise some people, man. I know some what I'm finding, right, in grappling in the U.S. specifically is that a lot of guys that don't do sports in high school, a lot of kind of the outcasts and outliers, after their schooling, after their college, they start jiu-jitsu and they're like, oh, this could be fun. A little bit of competition is not crazy hard. And then they keep rolling and gaining some momentum in competition and maybe potentially go to trials and win the trials. So with that said, you don't have a ton of crazy athletic guys in the American Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I think what I brought to the table, especially this last year, is not only bringing the eyes of wrestlers to grappling, but bringing the eyes of grapplers to wrestling. So I think there's going to be a lot of transitions between wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and more wrestlers doing jiu-jitsu. So I think that makes for higher quality competition and more athletic competition. You know, when you see jiu-jitsu guys wrestling, you see a takedown here and there and guys go crazy. When you see wrestlers wrestling, you're seeing backflips and cartwheels as defense and offensive moves to a takedown and then to a dominant position, get the back, etc. So I think it's going to make it – I think having more wrestlers in the jiu-jitsu world is going to make it more entertaining.
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu guys, I've never seen a jiu-jitsu guy that, didn't have a wrestling background that was good at takedowns, to be honest. It's only they might be good at drags and ankle picks or something, but like, I've never seen anybody who could do like a blast double like you could on somebody, So yeah, that was actually the reason that we initially were going to bring you on. We had to reschedule a couple of times. It was that transition from wrestling to grappling, and also for my own personal, I train athletes too. I want some wrestlers to kind of gravitate toward, some grapplers to gravitate toward wrestling too, because like for me as an adult, I'm old, I'm not really a competitor anymore. If I wanted to learn wrestling, it's tough, right? It's tough for a grown man to you can't just go back to high school and learn wrestling. I'm going to ask you two questions. If I was a, jiu-jitsu guy older, how do I get back into that wrestling scene just to improve my skills? And then the opposite question, if I was a wrestler, how do I get into jiu-jitsu? What's some advice you could give us?
So if you're an older jiu-jitsu guy and looking to get into wrestling, honestly, you can't go wrong with, it sounds weird, but can't go wrong with your local high school. I mean, especially if you're in Jersey, your local high school is probably going to have a state champ or state qualifier in there. That guy's probably going to go on to college and do pretty well. So in Jersey, we're stacked with that. You can also usually in most states they have a RTC, like NJRTC is our New Jersey Regional Training Center. So all the guys that are trying to make the Olympic trials and make the Olympics, they're training in this one facility, and then they obviously compete from there and stuff. So you can honestly, how I got it really good because I got hooked up with Reese Humphrey, who runs NJRTC, and that's like they're right in Rutgers and Princeton area. So we kind of just DM'd each other on Instagram one day. He was like, "Yo, come in," and it's been history ever since. I've been rolling with those guys. But I'd say find your local wrestling club, find your local high school wrestling club, and just give them a call and try to show up. The biggest thing, one of the biggest problems that the grapplers have in wrestling, is that they keep a high stance. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys stand up straight when they're wrestling. They're more of a judo style, That doesn't work. If you stand up straight with me, you're going to get blast double every single time. And I'm going to ask you, please stand up again. So a lot of guys aren't accustomed to keeping a low stance. Like if you watch any of my matches, my head is always lower than my opponent's head. I'm always lower than them, stopping them from taking me down. And that enables me to set up my shots more often. Not everybody can keep a wrestling stance for 10, 15 minutes. So you got to develop that lower back and develop those legs as well to stay low in that wrestling stance. But I think it's much easier for wrestlers to go to jiu-jitsu than it would be for jiu-jitsu guys to go to wrestling. It's definitely more hard on the body. I think you have a more long-term career with the jiu-jitsu, and it's hard to train wrestling every day as well because of the intensity. If you're taking like a grappling match, right? If we're talking practice, maybe it's 5 or 10 minute rounds, and you're going at like a moderate pace. In wrestling, you might have 2-minute rounds of wrestling practice, but it's a fucking sprint the whole time. You maybe have 5 or 10 2-minute rounds, and you're sprinting every single time. You're taking 10 shots in those 2 minutes, and you're absolutely going balls to the wall and killing yourself. So it's a change in speed and mentality between the both, and I think generally wrestlers develop better into grapplers.
Right. I want to ask you about this match. So one of your teammates, Nicky Ryan, fought Tony Ramos, who's a pretty big name wrestler. Got leg locked pretty quick. It was the expected outcome, but
Tony got leg locked real quick.
Tony Ramos got the leg locked pretty quick. It was an expected outcome. Yeah, Nicky Ryan did not get leg locked. And so I saw that match and I was like, okay, well, what can we take from this? Obviously, it was just something that he couldn't prepare for in time, right? So it was something that what would you tell wrestlers who are trying to get into jiu-jitsu, you know, what they should work on first? Is it defending the legs? Is it, you know, obviously it depends on what style of jiu-jitsu, but let's just say your style, no-gi, sub-only type matches.
If I could go back, right, and start jiu-jitsu from day one, I'd say pull guard, work legs, right? You have to work the leg locks. I think even the white belts know leg locks nowadays. It's like what they're starting with, especially because they have access to John's DVDs and whatnot. So I'd say we start with the leg locks and then the defense, as in get comfortable. Like if you're dominating your practice partners, let them put you in a triangle over and get choke. Let them put you in the leg locks and work on the defense. So I think if you have the availability to attack and defend leg locks and then defend every other submission, so you're just unsubbable, then you're making it a points match. And that'll allow you, if you can control the points as a wrestler, that's a little bit more in your game, you know what I mean? Because if you get up on points, then they have to chase you. So it's a little bit better for you. So if I could start from day one, I'd say I'd start with the leg locks. I learned me some good attacking from the legs and defending the legs. And then I learned now how not to get subbed in every submission, how to get out, because there's always a way out. You know, you look at a guy like Gordon again. You know, versus against Craig Jones in EBI, he has his arm completely extended, going to break, and you know he ends up getting out of there because of the technique, because he's technical and smart enough to kind of keep moving and keep his arm just out of reach of breaking. So I think to learn those mechanics of your body, of how not to get broken, that can really benefit you and help you escape in pretty much every position.
Right. I got one more question for you, Nicky Rod, and then Jim, follow up if you got any. In training, so I'm always curious. In training, right? I've been in several pretty high level training rooms, and I've also been in lower level training rooms, like my academy that I run. Is mainly just adult hobbyists, right? So we're not trying to, like, if I snatch an armbar on one of my brown belts or purple belt, I'm not gonna try to make him scream tap or make him like force an escape or anything, right? It's pretty gentle. When you guys are training, are you guys going for the kill? Because I've been in high level rooms and the answer is most of the time yes. Or is it more of a, let your partner figure out an escape type of situation?
So I want to say if we get to a position, we try to just hold that position. If we're talking heel hook, for instance, right?
Right.
If we get to a heel hook position, we pretty much, you get to the heel hook, you hold it for 3 to 5 seconds. If your guy can't escape, you're gonna break the leg. You know what I mean? We focus so much more on the control aspect, and then we focus on the break. So if you can't control your opponent, you can't break them. So if we're talking legs, we get to the inside heel hook, I lock it up, and as I slowly extend. If he gets out, he gets out. If not, my opponent taps. Now, you have guys like Gordon Ryan, where if you get him in a heel hook, he'll let you fucking break it in practice. So because I was literally talking about this with Craig yesterday, because I was like, bro, like, how do you do with Gordon in the legs? They're both masterful at the leg locks, right? Among many other aspects of jiu-jitsu. So I'm like, bro, like, when you get to a heel hook on Gordon, I'm like, Craig, how are you dealing with this? Like,
is he going for the break?
Yeah, I'm asking, like, are you going for the break? He's like, if I get to a heel hook on Gordon, and I have one option. I either have to let him go or break it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, literally, Gordon would rather me break his leg in practice than him tap. I'm like, he's fucking insane. This is nuts. Like, and that's completely accurate, because I've gotten, like, Gordon will let you get to submissions in practice just so he can escape, you know what I mean? And you can feel like he'll let you get to the brink of like something's gonna break and then
Jesus.
and escape after it. Yeah. So like as a practice partner, you never wanna break your fucking your partner, you know, you never want to break your practice partner. But you know, his mentality is always like kill or be killed. So for him, that's what works for him. You know what I mean? If Craig Jones touches my legs, I'm pretty much done for the day. So.
I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy mentality I've never heard of before. That's living life on the edge.
That's what makes him who he is, man. I'm telling you, like, and he's like that about in pretty much every position. Like he'll let you get there, and he's like in his mind, he's like, I have to get out of here technically, because in competition, if they break it, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? So he just keeps it going, man.
Yeah, that I think is using your ego to the maximum potential. You put yourself in a situation where a huge disadvantage, and you won't lose no matter what because your ego won't let you lose. So he's definitely like using the max right there. I'm really interested in his mindset.
He'd rather get broken and then escape than tap in practice. Like that's how he is.
You know what, man? That right there sealed it. I'm not gonna train to be the #1 ranked grappler in the world after hearing that shit.
Yeah.
All right, Jim. Any last questions?
Yeah. So I mean, you paint quite an interesting picture of the training environment in there, and like all training environments, especially when you go at it as hard as you do. There's a bonding that happens and there's a brotherhood that develops to where I'm sure, you know, the members of the squad, they will walk through fire for each other. Now, that being said, in the training room, there's also a lot of trash talk. Who talks the most trash amongst you guys? Don't tell me it's like little Nicky Ryan coming out talking trash to the older guys.
I think it's pretty even across the board. We all roast each other. Like if you go to a match and you lose and you come back to practice, we're fucking burning you.
You're grilling them.
It is like you walk down those stairs to the blue basement, look at everybody, and we're just laughing in your face. But it motivates you. You know, it motivates you. Yeah, I think we all talk a little trash, even like mid training. You know, we'll talk some shit. I think it makes it a little lighter, a little more humorous, and more fun in the training room. Right. But I mean, like if somebody's missing a practice, you know what I mean. If you don't train 7 days a week and you take a day off, we're like where were you? You know what I mean. You're taking fucking 3 days now, so. We all kind of keep each other, you know, keep us motivated, keep each other going. I think it's a really interesting dynamic, and I've never really been in a room like that where everybody kind of wants the best for each other. You know, it's not like I want to do better than you, so you do bad. You know, it's like I want you to get better, so you get me tougher roles. So it's a constant push by everybody.
That's so important. That's so important for a team. You know, I've been a part of some teams where, you know, that wasn't the attitude. You know, it's more about, you know, my success and my goals and my, you know, championships and you know, the other people were just what it is. That doesn't sound like what it is at the.
Well, one thing that really helps us, and one thing I really realized that like we can benefit or we do benefit from is we spend time together before and after practice. Maybe we do 30 minutes before, just sitting talking, and then at 30 minutes, an hour after practice, just talking about moves and talking about things that we have trouble with. You know, if I'm getting like triangle and having trouble getting out, like we'll figure it out. You know, no matter who it is. Like if Craig Jones arm bars me, I'm like, yo, like I have to figure out how to get out of this. And Craig will help me out. Be like, listen, this is how you escape. And then it'll make it harder on him to get the sub, you know. So that's what we want, man. We want the best. We want our practice partners to be the best in the world. So the competition's easy, you know. It literally feels like a vacation when we go compete because it's a grind in the room, you know.
Yeah, and you touched on a very key point. And what that trash talk does amongst the brotherhood is it does make things light. And when you're going at it and you're hurting, training's hard, right? It does help, you know, just ribbing each other, especially when you're like-minded and all that stuff. But bringing this thing full circle, let's go back to this Puerto Rico situation. Are you guys, what are the living arrangements going to be like? And is this more of a permanent thing or no, you're going to go there for like a training camp, a cycle, and then you're going to come back home and your home being New Jersey or whatever, how's that going to work out? Do you know yet?
We literally have no idea and no plan. We're like, the only plan is to go there and start training. We don't know how long we're gonna be there for. We don't know. I'm like, we have mats to train at. You know what I mean? We're all gonna be together. That's really the only thing we're focused on, is everybody getting together and continue training. We could be there, a couple weeks, 6 months, and we hate it. We could be there 5 years and love it. We really don't know. We're just going with it. We're going to figure it out. And all we know is that we want an affiliate program. And I think we want multiple gyms around the country, around the world, potentially. Because I think our style of jiu-jitsu is the best style of jiu-jitsu that there's ever been. And it's only going to get better. We're only evolving the sport, you know what I mean? I think the next big trend, the next big evolution in jiu-jitsu is that gray area between wrestling and jiu-jitsu, where it blends together, that little medium. I think we can all become the best in the world at that, and then show everybody how we became the best in the world.
Man, beautiful. Well said. A way to wrap this thing up. So, Nicky Rod, we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. We know you have a training session to get to, because you don't want to be razzed about being late or missing one.
Nicky Rod, do you have anything you want to plug, shout out?
Yeah, you guys gotta check out my podcast, Nicky Rod All Access. That's Nicky Rod All Access on Instagram, on YouTube, and every other podcast platform. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. So Nicky Rod All Access. I have you guys check me out Instagram. I have Nicky Rod 247, and then my jiu-jitsu page is Black Belt Slayer. I also have Nicky Rod Eats, and that's pretty much it, y'all.
Which is just your food, right? Just the food that you're eating.
Nicky Rod Eats Nicky Rod Eats gets weirdly like a lot of attention. Like for something that I don't post, like I'll post like a couple times a week, but I don't really push it. But it'll get like a lot of feedback. I think people are just curious, like what I eat to look the way I do and compete the way I do. Like it's nothing special. It's just the consistency of it. I eat a lot of good stuff, and I do it every single day to keep my body moving. So it just gives you a little, Nicky Rod Eats just gives you a little insight of my diet.
Hey man, and people love food. I mean, who doesn't love food, right? So, all right. Very good, Nicky. It was good catching up with you. Look forward to doing this again. And man, take care, brother, and good luck in the move and all of this unknown territory you're moving into. Good luck to you, man.
I appreciate y'all. See you next time.
All right, Nicky.
Thanks,
take
Nicky
care.
Rod. All right.